day, fellow men and women who are listening to me once again, I know that if you have been paying attention to the development of our society, you should by now be aware that we have an organization called the People's Movement for African Unity, who have received a divine task to establish the federal government of Africa, to unite and build a new Africa, an Africa that will be great and prosperous, in which all people will live according to their power, according to their ability, and for their own progress, and as well for the progress of the society. And may God bless you for everything you do in your life. We are once again making another video message to inform the public about what we require from everyone in the making of the new Africa. Of course, one person can't just stand and make a new Africa. It's a collective responsibility. Everyone has a role to play, and nobody is at lost. Everybody is on a very good stand. A prosperous Africa powers everyone, so it's all our responsibility. We are making this video message to let you know briefly what is preliminary required of you to be able to make our Africa great. And the title of this message is the Pan-Africanism Demand. Please pay attention to it. We are all aware that whenever a change is coming into place, so much will be required to bring it about. This had happened in many places of the world, and there is no need to give details here. In our case, basic demands are required from the members of the public, and those demands are: 1. To pay what we call the Pan-Africanism Support Levy. This is a financial contributions required from every businesses and other means that will be made known later. This financial contribution is mandatory to help us generate funds needed for our mission, because we are not going to work with government, and we are not going to depend on a particular individual. No single individual will carry the entire Africa, and no single government will carry the entire Africa, because the responsibility of the state governments is to look after its nation and its people according to its jurisdiction. So it has become a collective responsibility, not just because of the money you contribute, but because your consciousness is needed. We don't want absent-minded anymore, and the more you put your money in somewhere, is the more your mind is there. That is the one. 2. Everyone is required to suspend his or her activities every Wednesday by 11:50 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. to give Africa a moment of silence. This is a period of attunement, when which we connect and balance our relationship with the spiritual world and seek for their help. We will make a public announcement when this moment of silence will commence. 3. There will be a public rallies every last Wednesday of every month, starting from 11:50 a.m. till dawn. This is to show a public support for Africa, but these public rallies will be organized to take effect later. We will announce the time that it will commence and the time that it will end, but it will be only every last Wednesday of every month. Take note. These basic demands are mandatory, and anybody who disrespects it will suffer consequences. African unity is not an intellectual pursuit. There is a spiritual aspect of it. Please respect it. The most sensitive of these demands I know is the Pan-Africanism Support Levy. While everyone wants to see a well-functioning, peaceful and prosperous Africa, human selfish nature does not always allow them to willingly make sacrifices for the collective good until they are pressured to do so. But the responsibility of every leadership is to use the collective energy of the people to build a society, because a suffering society affects all. A good society also affects all. So it's not a one-person engagement. Please be ready to contribute to it. And we want to use this opportunity to let you know that we are putting a very strong punishment for anybody who disrespects this basic Pan-Africanism demand as stated above. We would like to bring to your attention that this mission of building a new Africa is the most important of all our activities today in Africa. No personal well-being should be considered more important. This means that these obligations must be fulfilled before anything else. In the case of business owners who fail to comply with our demands in paying our stipulated levy, we warn you that your businesses will be looted and vandalized, and nobody will stop it. You will only have yourself to blame when you become a victim of your own stupidity. Please look around the world and see many organizations that operate to accomplish their aspirations. Many of them have engaged in killings and kidnappings. They kill men, rape women, and kill children. They even kidnap people and demand millions of dollars in ransom. And when they are not paid, they kill their victim. But we are a godly organization on a godly mission, establishing a federal government of Africa, uniting and building a prosperous Africa is not a criminal thing, and we are not going to come to you in a clandestine manner. We will come to you openly should you fail to comply with our demands. We will announce it later, but the levy must start from January 2020. Whosoever does not pay it will suffer the consequences. And if you pay it late, your date will be backdated back to January. It doesn't matter when you pay it. When you pay it, it will be backdated back to that very January. You have to start from there. And you might find yourself paying more. And when our activities advances, we will come with the policy of categorization, because all businesses are not of the same category. They are not of the same level of income. So some will pay higher, some will pay lower, based on how we put things in place. For now, we are having the basic ones, which you can get 1 month. If you want to pay for 1 month, you get it for 400 rand. If you want to pay for 3 months at a time, you get it 800. If you want to pay for 6 months at a time, you get it for 1,400. And if you want to pay for 1 year, you get it 2,500. This is the basic before we go into categorization. It might happen that some people will be paying lower and people will be paying higher. Please know about this. And again, on the demand number 2, this moment of silence does not require you to transport yourself from one place to another, but simply to suspend your activities for mere 30 minutes in respect for Africa. To make this moment of silence great, you may choose to light up a white candle and stay calmly near it with your family or friends and pray for the good of Africa. Please do it on your own free will and accord. Do it for Africa and do it for the good of humanity. And may I once again remind you that our activities will start by January 2020 in Johannesburg, South Africa, and from there spread across the continent, and it is not subject to the control of any government of Africa. We once again remind you not to give anyone your money in the name of Pan-Africanism Support Levy. You are provided with bank account in South Africa. Pay it and have your sleep, and we will give you a certificate of compliance to avoid your business being disturbed. Every business is required to pay from one of the 4 options stated above. This is the preliminary levy before we go into categorization as said already. This levy must be paid by everyone. Please be aware of it. We don't have time going around businesses and take backy to drive and confiscate your goods and tell you come and pay before you take it. No, we don't have time for that. We have put people in place. We've put criminals, drug addicts, nyaupes, and all sorts of bad people. We've prepared them. We only need to point to a shop and they will go and vandalize this and destroy everything. Just make your own choice, either to lose your business or to pay a very simple levy to build a society in which you live. I will once again tell anyone, if you are not happy with what we are doing to build Africa, it will be in your best interest to pack your properties and leave the continent. You will never see us in Europe or Asia, in China or America or Australia or anywhere outside of Africa coming to tell you about Pan-Africanism levy or to impose ourselves on you in an appropriate manner. But here in Africa, it is our right to build this continent, and it is a good responsibility to carry out in building Africa. If you are not happy, please once again pack your property and leave. Otherwise, you will have yourself to blame. Every businesses and they pay attention to other subsequent means of getting income for the federation, because building an African federation is not a cheap stuff. It's not a local government affairs. It's not chatting in the social media. It's not about buying data. No, it's a very strong thing. Building from military to state security to a lot. Anybody who knows about it knows that such thing in a modern world requires money. And even if people want to work for Africa, they can't just come and work for Africa. They don't have something to eat. People will be hired. Salaries will be paid. Cars, rentals, everything has to be done. So it's not a woman kitchen affair. It's a big issue. Please respect it. Moreover, we don't expect any interruptions because we are legitimate in our mission. Besides this, whoever plays with the future of Africa will pay the big price, because Africa has suffered all sorts of humiliations from different quarters of the world, and we are not here for revenge, but respect this important moment in our history. Our mission is legitimate, and no law enforcement institution in Africa will oppose it, because African unity is the dream of our forefathers, and it is long overdue. If anyone is not happy, I repeat once again, in the building of Africa, it will be in your best interest to pack your property and leave the continent. For those who are aware about, for those of you who are familiar with the history of change in the world, we draw your attention from biblical times when Moses asked Pharaoh to liberate the sons of Israel. Pharaoh did not take him seriously until he began to apply some mystical powers that caused a lot of pain and outcry before he submitted to the demand. It was accepted as an act of God, and that is fine. We don't have a problem with it as long as it accomplished God's commands. And when Prophet Muhammad came to establish Islam, he peacefully called people, say, "Come, this is a new dispensation. Let's get involved." They did not listen to him until he began to strike. Until he struck people until they submit to that mission. Today, Islam is standing. And when the Communist Party seized power from the Tsarist regime in Russia, Joseph Stalin first of all introduced what was known in history as the collectivization in agriculture. He called on people so they can work together for the building of the nation. Nobody was listening to him until he began to strike. He struck people to submission, and after 1 or 2 years, it became clear that Joseph Stalin was right in his approach of matters. So when the African National Congress and other Pan-Africanist organizations of South Africa rose to demand for an end to apartheid rule in South Africa, they were not taken seriously. Because when people are in position they feel comfortable, they don't even think that one day there should be a change. They don't even dream of it. But change has always been the steps for evolution of the world. It doesn't matter. No nuclear weapon has ever stopped the evolution of mankind. When things is about to change, please be a gentleman and pay it attention so that you don't fall victim of your stupidity. So when the ANC came with their members, nobody listened to them until they began to bomb factories, bomb companies, destroy many things before they take them seriously. And today we can see that apartheid have ended and it will never return. We don't intend to be violent with anyone, but please respect our simple demands, otherwise you will have yourself to blame once again. If anyone has a free will donation to help us, please feel free to deposit it in our bank account. And should you have any material support to give us, please contact us for it. If anyone has a building to offer us to be used as an office, we will gladly accept it. But if no one offered us, we will look for any empty building that is not in use. We will break it inside and we'll go inside and we will use it, because nothing today should be considered more superior. No private property should be considered more important than the future of the continent and its people. So when we approach you, please listen to us. If you have a car to give us, it's fine. If you don't have, when we approach you as a car dealer, even if it's second hand we come for, please, we will negotiate, help us with the vehicle so we can start our own mission. And once we generate funds, we will pay you for it. Part of the agreement will be that the vehicles or whatever you give us remains your property and it is full until it is fully paid for. But please help us with what we need from you. That is why you are in Africa. And if you think your property is more important than Africa, then you have to go somewhere. Because time of gossiping for Africa's problem is over. It's time to stand up. Please, we once again advise you to stay in touch with our YouTube page to view some of our messages that will be coming from time to time, so that you will understand us better. And please spread this message to as far and wide as possible. Should you need to contact us, you can contact us for any gift, any help you want to give. We don't need ideas from anybody. The idea that has been revealed to us by spiritual forces is perfect. We just have to work to implement it. So don't think you are coming here to make a philosophical argument of whether or whether should we do. No, we are not short of ideas. We are not confused. We are clear. Our mission is simple and clear. It is heading in the right direction. Please rise up and support Africa. Make it a duty. I thank you all.